Hi my loves, welcome back to Astrology with Dheandra Nicolette. So today I want to talk about Saturn being stationed retrograde. Saturn has been stationed retrograde in the sign of Pisces from June 29th to November 15th, 2024. It's October as we're talking about this, so November is fast approaching, and I want to do like a little bit of a check-in. I want to talk about, first of all, what this particular retrograde even means for us on the grander scale. And I want to do a little bit of a check-in and have us think about a couple of things as they relate to this particular Saturn retrograde. So strap in, we're going to do a little breakdown of what all of this means. So we have two different things going on here. We have Saturn, the planet, and we have Pisces, the sign in which Saturn is stationed retrograde. So let's start with Saturn. Saturn is a planet that I like to call Big Daddy, okay? I say this because, okay, Saturn like low-key, high-key gives the energy of like your dad who is pretty strict. Like he loves you so much, but he's so strict and you're like always rolling your eyes because you're like, why is he constantly telling me I can't do this and I can't do that and I can't do this? But overall, it's because he has your best interest at heart. And even though you hate all of the little things that he does to be super overprotective in your life, at the end of the day, when you grow up a little bit more, and maybe you're around his age, you will understand why he did exactly what he did. So Saturn rules over restrictions, okay, naturally, like this overprotective dad. Saturn also rules over boundaries, discipline, karma, time, things like that. So a lot of the things that for us in life can create challenges, right? A lot of people don't like this idea of being, or maybe people do like the idea of being disciplined, but the actual practice, I should say, of being disciplined can be very challenging, right? Or even time, when we think about time passing, a lot of times like it makes us feel a certain way because it highlights just how little time we might have left or how little time, we might have to change certain aspects of our lives. So it's a lot of these like very almost like harsh and challenging things that we deal with on a human level. Saturn rules over those. Pisces, on the other hand, I feel like is so completely different than Saturn. So Pisces is ruled by Neptune, which is really interesting because Neptune is like so in the clouds. And if you think about a Pisces, you think about this energy of being in the clouds, of daydreaming, of sort of like this Delulu energy. Pisces is a water sign. There's a lot of emotional depth with Pisces. There's a lot of intuition. There's a lot of sort of like feeling things, feeling the flow of things, kind of like a water in the ocean, like a fish in the ocean, and a lot of understanding things on a very like energetic and emotional level, but also being very up in the clouds in this way of daydreaming and dreaming big and not necessarily knowing boundaries. Because if you think about the ocean, like, where does it end? Where does it begin and where does it end, right? It's so boundless. And so Pisces is that energy of boundlessness. And then we have Saturn being this energy and this planet of bounds, being stationed in this sign that's boundless. It's very almost like, what is the word we can use to describe like that? Like they're at odds, like they're butting heads. It's not a very comfortable place for Saturn to be as a planet. So when we have Saturn in Pisces, there is this energy of bringing discipline, bringing bounds, bringing the idea of time, bringing the idea of having restriction into the things that might be very Neptunian in our lives. And I'll give you guys a really good example. If you're like me and Pisces rules over part of your second house, then you might find that in your life, when it comes to money and spending money, you could often be very like just daydreaming, very up in the clouds about it, like, oh, I'll spend and it'll come back to me and I'll make it somehow. And it's kind of like you're not really worried about it. You kind of just are believing in the fact that money will come to you. And while I think that's a beautiful energy to have, Saturn being in Pisces in the second house, like for example in my chart, which transiting, and if you're an Aquarius rising or even a Pisces rising, this could be you as well, will bring this energy of no babes, like you need to have a budget. You need to actually know what's going out and what's coming in. You need to bring some sort of boundaries and some sort of discipline to the way that you spend money versus just being up in the clouds and being so like la 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 about it, because it's not gonna always work out for you if you're not paying attention to the boundaries and restrictions you need to have around your budget. When a planet is stationed retrograde, it is a time for us to kind of go inward and to really reflect. It's a reflection point. It's a time of almost being like, let me check in with self and see what are the lessons that I'm being given. What are the things that I'm learning and how is this affecting my life? Where do I need to sort of pivot and make changes and add things in or remove things? So with this particular transit, depending on where Saturn is retrograde, stationed retrograde in your house, and again, it's stationed retrograde in Pisces. So whatever house Pisces rules for you, this is going to apply for that particular house. So with this particular Saturn retrograde time, this is a time where we actually need to like take off the rose-colored glasses, okay? And we need to look at whatever it is in our lives that Saturn is ruling over. And we need to understand where we might need restriction. So I would say this time since the summer, you know, July, August, September, October, and some of November, where are you feeling called to tighten up, right? Is it with your diet? Is it with literal boundaries that you need to set around yourself and what you give to others in relationships? Is it being disciplined about your craft or your creative ventures, your hobbies? Is it being disciplined around your money and how you're spending, what you're earning, what's going out, right? Like this is a time where we are actually being called to really go inward and reflect on where in our lives we've been kind of, you know, a little bit too delulu, where we've kind of allowed our delusion and our daydreams and our, you know, one day it will change to take us a little bit too far down a path where we are ignoring the harsh truths and the realities around us, because we don't want to wake up one day and realize like, oh my God, I've actually driven myself deep into debt because I haven't been paying attention, or oh my God, I've actually allowed myself to stay in this relationship that really is not serving me, that really has me, you know, being a people pleaser and has me overpouring my energy. I've allowed myself to stay at a job where it is so toxic and so, you know, the work-life balance is not there and I haven't set boundaries around it. This Saturn retrograde period is asking us, where do you need to be more disciplined? And where do you need to be aware of time passing, right? Because for some of us, we seem to have forgotten that time is passing, and time is a construct, yes, but we are living within this reality where the construct is applicable, where we have to think about time. And so for many of us, we've allowed time to pass and we haven't done the things that we wanted to do. We haven't done the things that we said we were going to do. And now it's getting towards the end of the year. So Saturn will station direct come the end of this year, and it will transition and finish in Pisces. It goes into Aries next year, and then it retrogrades back into Pisces for a little bit of a last stint, and it goes direct again into Aries, and it'll be in Aries. So if you have Saturn in Aries, your Saturn return is coming up starting in 2025, apologies. Oh, I'm ahead of myself here, okay? But where do you need to be aware of time? And where do you need to be aware of the passage of time? And where do you need to be aware of your boundaries? And where do you need to be aware of limitations? You know, Saturn doesn't aim to make us feel like nothing is possible or to make us feel trapped. I think sometimes when we are moving without restrictions in certain areas of our lives and we start to apply restrictions, it can feel very trapping. It can feel like, oh my God, everything's tightening in, you know, around me, the walls are closing in. But there's freedom in discipline. There's freedom in restrictions. There's freedom in routine. There's freedom in understanding where our boundaries are. And all Saturn aims to do is just to wake us up to that fact. So I want you to take some time and think about what it is you've been avoiding. What have you been avoiding on an emotional level, on a spiritual level, on a physical level, a financial level? Where can you create healthier boundaries in your life? Whether that's in a certain relationship that you have with a vice or with another person, with an employer, with a family member. These are the questions that we have to ask ourselves as this particular Saturn stationed retrograde in Pisces transit plays out. But this is a really important transit to lean into, and it's only bringing us lessons and challenges that are here to allow us to grow. Thank you so much, my loves, for tuning into this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. Go ahead and give this video a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, okay, to my channel. And let me know if you enjoy these videos, and I will make more of them. I will chat with you in the next one. Bye, my loves.